here at Northport Oval. Congratulations to him. He's been a stalwart of the club. Had a stint in the Hawthorn seconds, but today plays his 100th VFA game in the zebra colours. I'm sure he's looking to put in a big one. Well, the match this afternoon is against Prahran, who played that sensational game against Williamstown last week. Here, the ground much heavier for today's encounter. We have had one game played here today, and it was in the reserves. And in the second semi-final, victory going to Preston today over Sandringham. But we look first at the under-19s first semi, which is being played out at Werribee because of the ground conditions, and obviously much better out there because a big score booted by Oakley. They won by 63 points to put Preston out of the finals. The second semi-final is the undefeated Werribee against Coburg, and the ball will be bounced out there at Chirnside Park very shortly for that one. But in the reserves here, as I told you, Preston winners over Sandringham by just 1 point. Sandy had only lost one game for the season to finish on top of the ladder. Preston winning today by 1 point, and one of the Sandringham players kicked 1 goal 13 in that inaccurate performance. I'll tell you who that is very shortly. Let's look at the Sandringham lineup for the seniors this afternoon, and it will become evident as to who is missing and who that mystery full forward I mentioned was. There's 4 changes, in fact, in the Sandringham side from the one that we saw play out at Werribee. And you see there that George Gorozides is at full forward because Frank Regolo was dropped to the seconds today, and he kicked 1 goal 13. It was his first reserves game for 5 years. He found out he wasn't playing in the Sandringham senior side yesterday on his birthday, so he'll be looking to fight his way back into the team. But the others missing are Ryan, Tarpey and Cracker. Well, I guess quite expected that they didn't come up from their injuries received 2 weeks ago, so they are not...
I think so. You know, both Andrews trained on Friday night, and we just thought with the ground conditions that to go into a game with a guy with a bit of a hamstring and a bit of a shoulder was a bit of a risk, and I'd rather have a couple of players who are fully fit and going to put their body in. So, you know, we've given them the week off, even though they both probably could have played.
Well, with Eddie Fisher back and Chris Garrett and Frank Regolo being dropped, it makes it a lineup that probably you've never gone into a game with this season. No, well, Frank's been in the same boat. He probably hasn't played that well the last few games, and he's been injured and unable to train here and there, and we just thought this week, and with the ground conditions, we put in a guy like Eddie Fisher, who's a real nugget. He's sort of a have-a-go fella, and yeah, I was hoping today Frank would kick a bag of goals in the seconds, and he probably could have if he did kick straight, but yeah, we look at that in the future. And Prahran, were you impressed with him last week? Well, it was a great game last week. I think it was great for VFA footy, you know, the whole thing, and yeah, they attacked the ball very, very hard, and that's one of the things I pointed out to my boys today. And here's the Prahran lineup. A big surprise at full forward for them as well. Brian Taylor has elected not to play this afternoon, has a troublesome knee injury. This heavy ground has obviously forced some rearrangement at the selection table. Kylie has missed out. The players to come in for the 2 Blues this week are David Clark and Willie Walford. Clark to start on the bench, Walford into the first 18. Well, very cloak and dagger stuff by both sides, and Brian Taylor unavailable for our interview before the match. So I spoke to the chairman of selectors, Steve Perry.
I think so, Perry, at the moment. I think everything's sort of, all the hard work's been done at this stage of the year, and the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think everyone seems to have lifted about 10 or 20